to this late night edition of Flutterflow Live with Joss and Dimitar.
Yeah, and look that.
Oh, I did not come prepared today. I do have to always think before these what I'm going to wear to make sure that it's not the same as last week and that people don't think I've been wearing the same shirt for the entire week. It's a concern I have. Anyway, we are a little bit later today because Dimitar is on holiday in Portugal, but has been able to somehow join us.
Yeah, now people can wrap my house.
Hopefully your partner is not too upset with you taking this hour out.
Yeah, the dog is there, so be careful.
So there is no news update today, but we have some news to update you on. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to everybody who has signed up and subscribed and is trying and using our new Flexperts app. I'm really genuinely blown away that I posted and kind of shared it like 2 days ago, and we've already got 110 users already. So that's really amazing. If there are any bugs you hit, please do tell us. If there is anything that is confusing or you think could be better or you want us to add, please do tell us. We are keen to, in the same way that Flutterflow does, to keep up this kind of pace of development and make things better and as closely aligned as what you guys want. Because yeah, this is, well, to be honest, I do use our own app a lot, so it is kind of for me. But for the most part, yeah, we're building this to help other people do more with Flutterflow.
Yeah, exactly. There was a hi to capsule first because we have the first person who joined the chat, and then there was one guy actually asked me what is the problem that we fix with our platform. So can you try to answer this, or should I answer this?
My answer will be more diplomatic than yours, probably. The short answer is we are providing a helping service, if you like, to fill in some of the gaps that currently exist in Flutterflow, or at least to make those gaps easier to fill. So yeah, it's true. A lot of the custom functions we have, they're really simple. But for a beginner who's coming just to Flutterflow right now, those functions are not on the marketplace because the marketplace is for something a little bit different. And then, yeah, cloud functions are something that I know Flutterflow wants to add, and we're giving some kind of access to them in a slightly different way in advance of that, I guess. What's your answer, Dimitar?
Yeah, my answer is that the no-code platform like Flutterflow and many others, the whole idea is to people not to write code. So what we are trying to provide is a way to only copy and paste certain functions or code in general, so people can actually copy this code and then put it in their projects. So I think this is the problem that we're trying to solve here. But even that the function is super easy, some people cannot just write it. So I think it's better to just go there, copy and paste this function, and then get done with it. If you need it, for example, if you need a function to find a word and then replace it with some other word, then okay, you have this function already, and you can just copy and paste it, and you can just use it. It's simple as that. So I think in a way we're actually trying to help a lot of people who are actually non-coders. And I think because Flutterflow is such a platform for no-coders, I think this is something very useful for everyone at the end of the day.
A lot of this comes from both, my long, painful journey to learn this stuff, and also from like the questions we get asked a lot, and just people often seem to struggle with the learning curve of Flutterflow. The design and stuff. Some stuff is really easy, but when you really want to, I guess, take your app to the next level, almost everything does require some custom functions. And if you've just never done that before, we're helping to try to make it a little bit more, I guess, accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Anyway, so Thank you. That got really deeper than I intended. I've had a migraine all day, so I'm a little bit out of it. But let's dive right in. As I said, there is no new news, but what we thought we could do is just take you on a little tour of the things that we've added recently. So if Dimitar wants to share a screen, and then we will go through answering some questions about maps. And then I have another question on merging image lists and making, getting around one of the kind of weird things of Flutterflow about uploading multiple images. Then a few others we have, if we have time. So, yeah.
Should I sign up? What do you think? Should I sign up or?
Well, unless, do you want to pay us $10? Why don't you just log in? Might be easier.
Okay, I'll just log in then. I can try that. If I just go out, yeah, you can just know that I'm gone because I'm using this other computer, which can happen. So let me try and log in right now. So everyone can see my password, of course. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
1.2523. 1.2523.
Okay.
I'm always surprised when it works. Cool. So what do you want to see first? It's mostly the same design, but should we just kind of go down the menu from top?
I think or can we talk about the new things or just go from top to bottom? Really, this can be.
So at your start, you have your dashboard. This will provide you, we're going to try to put our most recent videos top left. Also the most recent questions that people are asking. Our questions is a little bit different than the normal circle community for Flutterflow. What we're trying to do is provide more answers and a little bit easier to maybe search through and get to what is an actual solved answer for something. So it's not as free form, if you like, but if you ask a question, we will do our best to kind of provide an answer. And when we do, we will mark something as solved. So that's kind of what's on the right. In the next section, project.
Yeah.
When you first log in, you will have the opportunity to create your project. This will, once you do that, so you can just name it, give your project a photo, and then we're planning to build out this area a lot more in the future, but this will essentially give you some basic project management tools. I'm sure most people probably use other things like Airtable, Notion. Part of the reason we're doing this is so that if you need help in the future, this will hopefully make it a little bit easier to share some things with myself, with Dimitar, and get answers to your questions faster. So we have a basic kind of, to start with, just a task list. So if you enter my first task, Dimitar, give people a tour. Again, any suggestions, improvements, feedback, this is not supposed to replace Notion or something like that. If you just press enter, I need to add an add button. But,
yeah.
So yeah, you've got basic tasks with status, priority, which you can use. And then just to be fully transparent, our team can see this. So we're not trying to steal your ideas. If security is a concern, I guess we can lock it out and make it optional to share. But as I said, the main point of this is so that you can share things with us to help you solve problems, whether that's on a one-to-one call or in a question you ask us. You can also add, if you use those tabs, Dimitar, at the top, we'll also add messages soon. And then on the third tab, we've added just some really basic photo upload screen share so that, again, so that you can add kind of, if you're hitting a bug, the more information you provide, the easier it is for us to help you solve it, and then also to share that information with everyone in a kind of condensed format to make it easier to, search and get the answers you want quicker. So that's kind of the project section. If you go into Firebase Sync, which is the next one down on the menu, which we've shown you guys before. The first time you'll go through this onboarding process, which we've shown in other videos. But just to recap, this is the reason we're letting you and offering the ability to import or manually set up your Firebase schema is in order to use our Cloud Functions Builder and in future also our custom actions. The way custom actions work and Cloud Functions work is that we obviously need to know the exact names of your collections and fields. And so by syncing with your Flutterflow project, which is a one-click import, just uploading your project file, by doing that, we can then actually build you cloud functions that will run in the background and automate a lot of stuff in your app. But yeah, you do have the option here. If you go back, Dimitar, one step.
Yeah.
You can obviously, if you go to the manual tab right there.
Yeah, this one.
There's a second tab right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be clear. So you can set up your collections manually as well. And we put that right in the onboarding. So if you, this is also good if you've already imported and you just want to add like one new collection, you don't have to re-import everything. Cool. You want to just go through. We will do a full thing on Rowie, maybe invite Shams back again because people you guys seem to really think that was a useful, helpful session. So we can bring him back for another deep dive on Rowie, and we're going to continually work with them to try to improve the kind of streamline the onboarding process for that. But for now, we've just they've got great resources. It's a really easy 2-minute, 5-minute setup. So yeah. And you can connect your Rowie URL as well, as we've mentioned before. This will not work because you don't have any information.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't follow the instructions, Dimitar.
That's true. That's true. I have to create some collections.
Yeah, this is a good test to see if this works. Are we going to make this? One day we're going to be able to have a live stream where things actually work. And truth, what does 1.25.23 mean? I'm very curious.
What is that? Where do you get that?
Posted that in the chat. 1.25.23. I feel like it's a riddle, like it's Da Vinci Code or something.
Okay.
So yeah, if you select one of those, we are, by the way, going to be adding a lot more of these now. We've got the basics actually working, I think. Yeah. And again, if you use the request function, we will be, we're going to prioritize obviously the things that people are requesting.
Yeah.
You'll also notice we've never really mentioned there's that My Variables section. Now here's the request section.
Yeah.
Yeah, that My Variables section, which maybe should be renamed, but that is to allow you to enter static values. So if you're always reusing the same thing, whether it's I don't know, it shouldn't be an API key normally, but some value in your functions that you just don't want to have to keep re-entering, like a group name or a category name or something, like you can do it with that. 1 second. Apologies. So yeah, if you want to go through and just quickly generate something.
Yeah.
This is the one that we've shown before. 2 basic functions. The next one coming up is going to be allowing you to make an API call, and then push notifications will be the 4th one. We're also probably, it seems like, and again, please do let us know, but it seems like batch update, batch delete is something that a lot of people have been asking for.
I think I clicked something.
You broke it. Anyway.
Where I was not supposed to, right?
Yeah. This is the functions library. If you just want to go through here. I know it was working because people have been generating functions. So
yeah.
I think
You're talking about the custom functions, right?
No, the cloud functions. I know it's working. People have been
generating. Yeah, it is working. Yeah, it is working.
I think maybe there's just.
No, it is working. I was just clicking randomly. So.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
We're also started to implement type safety on here, meaning that for this example, you actually need to have an integer for this counter function to work. So what we're doing is, obviously, we know which of your fields are integers. So it's actually only letting you select the integer value fields. If you don't, it will tell you have no available fields. Yeah, and then you just basically copy and paste this into Rowie. And we should have a deep dive to show that whole process.
Yeah.
I'm dying. Do you want to just quickly show a few of the new functions in the function library as well?
Sure. Custom functions, right?
Questions. Well, you can see which new ones we added.
Maybe we can show the join string.
Which one is this?
The join string.
This one's cool, actually. I like this one.
Yeah.
So this is the join string list. So what this will do is take input a list of strings, and it will combine them into a single string. So the use cases for this might be if you've collected, for instance, somebody's address, I think is the example I give.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've collected an address in multiple form widgets, and then they go into, for whatever reason, a list, you can then merge them into a single string value. By default, this function will separate each of the items in the list with a comma, but you can actually change that. So for instance, if you wanted to combine numbers into a date, so day, month, year with slashes, backslash, you can do that. Or what are the other use cases for this that you would use this for?
Yeah, there are many use cases. One of the use cases is that I think if you actually have, because right now the idea here is that to have a list of strings. So if you have any list of strings and you want to combine them, then to just put it in one single string, this is actually the custom function that you need. Because they're actually, I'm using this a lot while coding, to be honest. If you're, for example, like you said, an address, if you have an address, or for example, if you're collecting some sort of data, like for example, you're collecting like favorite colors of the user or wherever, and you have like them in a list of strings, and this is actually your option, how you can actually put it in one single string, and then you can actually uh, output it so people can actually see what are all the colors, for example, that the user have chosen. And I think also if you're using Firebase and you get something in the list of strings using Firebase, I think you can also use this function and then output it as a simple string, right?
If you get something in Firebase, no,
Like a list of string, isn't it?
I mean, you can
You can.
like to input it back into a text widget.
Yeah, for example, if you want to put it something in a text widget, but you're getting it as a list of strings, I think this is the way how you can do it, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, like if you wanted, someone to write a blog or something, and then
Yeah,
you want them to input sentence by sentence or something like that, then you can
yeah,
merge, you can join them back together. No,
yeah,
Is that what you
exactly.
mean? Yeah. So that's what this is. There's also a companion function, obviously, to split strings, which we'll be adding, I think, tomorrow because I'm going to die after this. So I will not. I was planning
Yeah,
today,
and
but
I think the best thing for those kinds of functions is that, as you said, you can actually choose the separator. So in this case, it could be a comma, or it could be two dots, or double dots, or it could be slash, or it could be anything, right? So I think this is very flexible, so users can actually choose who to be the separator of this.
exactly. Um, Also, if you have information coming from APIs, it might be combined. It might often be in a list like that, and this would be another use case. Let's go to the next one, and then we can kind of move on. Count characters. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
And some math. We've added a few more math ones as well, like count average. So count characters is literally counting all characters, including spaces. Um, I'll probably add one that excludes the spaces, or at least gives the option to exclude the spaces. Right now, I'm trying to make these functions have as few options as possible. I'd rather have more functions that just do one thing and don't have options you have to configure just to make it simpler. In the
yeah,
same way that we're not being specific about the arguments, or often if you notice like input or input list, we're trying to be kind of standardized about that. Although it's non-descriptive, it just makes it, I hope, simpler for people to compare one function to another and kind of start to understand how they work a little bit more.
yeah.
But yeah, I see math. People are often asking for math functions. So we've done add number list,
Yeah, we can actually go through all the functions that we added so far if you want to just talk about it.
Well, one of them I'm going to do for the question in the community as well. But yeah, find and replace. This one is find and replace, just like in a Word document. So you're literally choosing a string, and it will go and replace it in every instance. Just beware that it doesn't work like Word. It's not going to, it will be exactly replacing it everywhere. Add numbers. This one will literally just take two numbers and do basic math. So 2 + 2 is 4. Merge image lists. I'm going to talk about in answering one of the questions on the community. But yeah, it merges two image lists. Count numbers in a list. This is counting the number of times a specific number appears in a list. So if you've got a list of people's birthdays, it will tell you, and you want to know how many people are 14 years old, or 15, or 19, or 40, or whatever. It will tell you how many times the number 40 appears in your long list of numbers. Which is really useful for a lot of different things. Empty string list returns you a empty list of strings. So with no items and no strings, actually. This is kind of useful for getting around some of the weird things in Flutterflow where it requires you to set a list. And obviously you don't always want to set it from a local state because you might have something in that local state. So this will, and the same as empty string, gives you literally an empty string. It's just in a few weird places it's kind of helpful. Uppercase text will take whatever text you input and put it all in uppercase, preserving the spaces and formatting, right? So it will preserve the special characters, right?
Yeah.
Quotation marks. So, and it will just format it all into uppercase letters. Sorry, my cat. I am a doorman for my cats. Then we've got join string list, which we already talked about. Count characters, add number list. We'll take an in however long you want number list of numbers, add them together. Right now, that one is just integers, not doubles, but we will add doubles. So like 1.22, 1.55, etc. Join list of strings. What is the difference between those two?
This is numbers and this is strings, I think.
No, there's join string list and join list of strings.
Yeah, let me see, because this is join list of strings. Okay,
yeah, and then there's like 5 above that.
We can see the. Yeah, I think we have a double one, so I think this is the same one. We should delete the one.
My other is better with 742. Evergreen pairs. Remove duplicate text goes and removes duplicate text, I guess. Oh yeah, this gives you unique, only the unique items in a list. So if you've got a bunch of different words like this, it will give you one of each type. And this is case sensitive or no, right? I can't remember.
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's sensitive.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is put everything to lowercase first. And again, the way we're trying to build these is so that they are modular like that. You don't always.
It is case sensitive.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So it's case sensitive. So if you have uppercase JOS and then lowercase JOS, it will consider those to be different. But the way we're trying to build these functions is so you can stack them. So what you would do is put your input into all lowercase on both sides of the comparison, both of the text or the list, put everything in the list to lowercase. And then it will mean that if your users have inputted their address or their name with weird spelling, it will still get the unique items. And then calculate average will take a list of numbers, integers, and give you the average of that list of numbers. I don't remember how specific I made it. Can you look real quick?
Yeah, sure. This is the demo, the test.
Oh, helpful.
So 2, 3, and 4.
This will return what's called a double. A double is a number with decimal points. I think
this will return an integer.
No.
Oh, it's a double. Okay, you're right.
Can you look at the second image?
Yeah, you're right. This will return a double. Yeah, it's just in our case, in our demo, in our test right now, it's returning it looks like an integer, but should be a double. Yeah, you're right.
So with a double, you normally would, in this situation, have to specify how many decimal points you want. So I think it maybe is 2 or something, 2 or 3 or 4. Anyway, Cool. So that's our functions. Shall we get into?
Yeah, I wanted to say that for the end that talking about the custom functions again, use the request template, so we can just write a custom function that is missing here, and you can use it. So this is very important for us actually to write your request, so we know which ones to add next.
Cool. Can you make a request right now, so I don't forget?
Yeah, of course.
Can you make a request to split a string into a list? Yeah. And also here, you'll see on the board of requests, you can upvote ones that you want. If you get it to the top, we'll do it faster. And again, this is one of the things I think we're trying to be complementary to the community and to Flutterflow in terms of surfacing things that people want, and because I know that stuff does kind of get lost sometimes. Cool.
Is that it?
I don't know. Hopefully, I think it just didn't clear the text fields, right?
Probably, I'm not sure.
Probably at the bottom of the list, but
Custom functions. Yes, I added twice actually.
yeah, I think I need to. There you go. Can you add that, fix that bug as well? Cool. So the last section, the one we didn't get to, is the Ask an Expert. There you can ask questions, and we will respond to them. You can also upvote questions that you want to see answered, and if you want to book one time, you can. There will also obviously be search functionality, which is hopefully better than Circle, just because the volume is slightly lower. So yeah, that's it. If you're going to submit a question, please do add as much information and screenshots as possible, because that really helps.
Yeah.
So I obviously haven't done the thing that I said I was going to do while we did this, which was find the question and answer, of course. So if you want to.
I'm not hearing you anymore, but let's hope that you're talking something. But yeah, so while Josh is searching for the questions, maybe we can talk about the dashboard here, and this is actually the latest videos that we put. So if you miss this one, you can actually go over here and you can actually see all the videos that we already did. I think this is helpful. At the end of the day, if you haven't watched all the live streams, I think it's helpful to actually see, because I think we're answering some very common questions that I see a lot of people are actually asking them in the community.
And we're going to try to be better as well about breaking up the content, so that, or at least providing timestamps in these videos a bit more. We kind of got lazy about that. Cool. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Or do you want me to send you the link, actually? I can send you the link. I'm going to bed after this. I apologize for my low energy today. I sent it to you on the private chat here.
Okay, nice, thanks. You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, if you could. And then I'll kind of talk about it, and then.
Okay, I think I'm in.
Oops.
I cannot hear you anymore. Did you mute your mic?
You wish you couldn't hear me. I'm not that easy.
Now I do.
So the questions here were it was a weird thread that went from one thing to the other, but the key things that were came out of it is about executing callback actions, which I'd just like to kind of highlight again, because it is a weird thing that, as far as I know, is not necessarily in the documentation. And by a callback action, what we mean is you've got a component or a custom widget, and you want to do something in it, and then have something outside of your component or custom widget change. So by default, the way the kind of page updates work, anything that's inside of a component or custom widget will change things that are on the same level inside of it, or down inside, like if you had a component inside of a component. But by default, if you update something, they won't necessarily change on the outside of the component or custom widget. The way you get around that is by doing a importing an action as a parameter. And I thought maybe we could just set that up really quickly if you have Flutterflow open by now.
Yeah.
Because it's, so we'll do the base one with a component. We've shown it before, but I think it's helpful. So essentially the structure and setup is that you pass in one action into your component or custom widget, and then you call that action from, for instance, pressing a button inside the component. And what it will do is it will execute whatever actions you've set. So you're passing in one action, but in reality, you're passing in whatever series of actions you've built in your workflow. So it will execute all of those, and it will execute them at the level above, so on the main page. And that is then how you can get changes to appear outside of your component, which is really, really handy. So what we've got here is, what have we got here?
So I have my component.
Yeah.
This is my component.
Is that text or?
Text and a button.
Yeah, cool. And then if you add the action parameter.
Action parameter. Wait a second. Parameter. Action. Where is it? Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bottom. So you can only right now add one action parameter, which is not really a limitation because again, it can be multiple actions, as you'll see.
It's strange actually that you can turn it into a list. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I think it'll break if you do it.
Yeah,
I have a strong suspicion it will break. I saw that today. I was like, I wonder what happens if I click this.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we've added that action parameter. Now, if we go to the outside of the component,
yeah, I'm here.
Back to the main page, and you click on your component, which is the blue thing, obviously.
Yeah.
What you will see is you have a new option, just like with any other parameter on the right-hand side, whereby you can have this. And this is a little bit different. If you notice at the very top, it says callback rather than on press like it would for a normal button. So you can, let's update a local state or something like that, just for an example.
Okay. Let's update the local state.
We didn't put a text field in there, but you can just do it maybe with like a specific value or something.
Specific value.
Hello from the outside.
Okay, nice.
You wish I was on now.
Okay, done.
Cool. So we're passing in that action to update the text. And then do you have a block of text on the outside that we can change in like the app?
This one?
The one, yeah, if you just take the text in the page title and set that from the local state so that it changes.
Sure. But do you want me actually to run this?
We could while I talk about the next thing. And then there's one last.
It will not run because this is the
broken project. Okay, well, don't worry about it then. But just the last thing I wanted to show is that you still have to do one more action inside the component to actually trigger that callback.
What is that?
So on the button itself, you need to do execute callback.
Oh, okay. You mean on the button that it's inside in the component,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, I didn't know that. So wait a second.
Exactly. So you're essentially, it's like a remote trigger, if you like, for the action chain.
Execute callback. Okay. What will happen if I don't put that here?
So if you don't put that, the other actions won't go. They won't process.
Okay. So if I have this setup, but I didn't put the execute callback, nothing will happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you had other actions, they would run normally. But what would not happen is essentially the change would not be reflected on the higher level, on the page level. So you would not see that text change. Because although the local state had changed, you would see it change if you navigated away from the page and came back to the page, but it wouldn't have refreshed essentially on the outside.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But what if we put here? What if we put it update the local state and then execute the callback? Can we do that?
So normally, actually, this is what you would have to do. So because you can only access the value, for instance, from a text field on the inside of the component, normally what you would do is you would update local state, then you will execute the callback, and the callback, from my experiences, it needs to update the local state again, but using its own value. So if you've got a local state parameter, I don't know what yours was called, but like page title, let's say, you would do set value of page title local state to page title local state, and you're just forcing it to refresh, basically.
Yeah, but this thing will not work from here. What I suggest it will not work because this you cannot. It's gray. You cannot select it. So what you're saying is actually probably yeah. No, you cannot select it. It's not working like that. Yeah. So I guess that your way of doing it is actually the right way.
Of course it is. I'm going to execute the callback from the outside. No, you can't do that. That's the point of the callback.
Exactly, but I wanted to try anyway.
Okay. Always got to try and break stuff. If you are doing it within a custom widget, the process is slightly different. We can show that if that's something you guys are interested in.
Yeah, sure. We can just do a random custom widget.
But the most important thing is the actual code, because obviously you don't have the special functionality, if you like, because you're inside of a custom widget. You have to trigger it manually. And if I can find the comment, I've shared it on the community somewhere. I just have so many messages. I guess it's this one.
So I need a parameter, action parameter, right?
Yes, for inside your custom widget. Yeah. I'm almost there. Luckily, I don't post too much on the community, it seems like. So I don't have too many comments to look through. Oh, maybe it's in that thread you're actually looking at. Maybe that would help. Oh, here we go, found it.
Can you copy and paste in the private chat?
I think it's literally in that same thread, buddy. If you just scroll down.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I will share my screen.
It's like 3 above the bottom. Right there. So you have FF app state. Scroll down. I even put it in a code block.
No, I think it's this one, isn't it?
So there's 2 different things. One is the line of code to set the app state from within a custom widget, and the other one is the callback one. I think I added both, no?
Yeah, this is setting up the local state, and then we need. Do you want us to do this when press, for example, when we press a button inside the custom widget, and then update the local state, or how do you imagine that? I cannot hear you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find my own thing.
No, just tell me how you want this. What was your idea?
So my idea was obviously to trigger the action parameter that you've passed in, the callback. You need a separate line of code which you can do on button press, for instance, within a custom widget, which was the.
So we need the button, right, exactly, inside the custom widget. Okay, so we can do this by going over here and then view the code. And then we can copy and paste this section over here, the button. We can copy it, and then we can go over here, and then we can paste it over here. And then we have the button, which I think will work out of the box, isn't it? We don't need any imports. I'm not sure, actually. I think we need imports, do we know? I'm not sure. I think we need imports in order to do this. I think it's the Flutterflow utility, or I think it's a Flutterflow utility. I'm not sure, but I'll add the 3 ones because I'm not sure which one I need. So I'll add those 3 over here, and because this is a custom function, we need to go 2 levels down, the 3. And then over here, when we have on press, we can actually execute this action over here. So it's called my action. So it's this one, I think that is the one that we need to execute. Yeah, and then we're executing this action, and then you need to you want me to change the local state, right?
The most important thing I was trying to show was the widget, like the dot call. So where you name.
Yeah, exactly. I
Widget,
wrote it.
oh,
It's over here.
I only see
It's line
I only see the
27.
community post.
Wait, sorry.
I don't think you've been sharing your screen.
Is this one?
The
Or
magic
is this one?
reveal. So widget.action, and there's an await. So I will type that in here, or hopefully widget. So do you want to just walk through what that every part of that line is, because it's
Yeah, exactly. So this is actually await. So we have await. We always need an await when we're calling an action in Flutterflow or any programming language, to be honest. And then we have the widget. The widget is coming from this part over here because all the parameters that are callable. So all the parameters that you can actually write here, we need the widget before that. So it's a widget that then is the name of the action, which in my case is my action, and then that call will actually execute this action. And what we have inside this action, it's actually a normal action. So if we can actually save this and go over here and add my actions, add my custom widget, sorry. And my custom widget, I think it's this one, as long as I remember. This was the name of it. I'm not sure actually. No, this is not my custom action. This is my component, of course. So my custom action, where is my custom action? Is this one. So this is my custom action, and this is my action, right? So this is also a callback. And what you're saying is that I actually can update the local state from here,
exactly.
right?
So in order to refresh the widgets on the page, whether it's a text widget or anything like that. In the case of the community question, they were actually asking about a map widget. So if you wanted to have a functionality to, for instance, you've allowed, the user's been browsing around the map and they want to refresh back to their start location, where the user latitude and longitude is, because they've gotten, lost while browsing around the world. Now, the interesting part about this kind of discussion is that the user and other users were trying, and myself included, I think, were trying to suggest that it could be done this way. But the way the map widget actually works, it can't, at least not with anything I tried. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So I posted the code, the kind of thing that you need. Widget is widget.action parameter. So that action parameter part in capitals can be anything that you've called your action parameter. And then, you can have whatever actions you want.
But the problem here is that I'm having is that, for example, when I go back here inside the component, and then I go over here, and then I go to my, oh, sorry, I should go over here, and inside my component, I'm setting up the local state the same way that I'm setting it from my custom widget. So this is working fine. The problem is that here I have a button which is updating, which is actually executing the callback, right? So I think in theory, I need to do the same thing inside the custom widget, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was. Where have you been the past 5 minutes? I thought I was the one that was out of it today. No, so what have you got there? You've got widget. That is executing the callback. But before you do that, you need to change the actual app state, no?
Yeah, but that's strange because right now, when I go over here and when I see the code, when I execute the callback, when I execute the callback and when I go to here and I see what is the action that is executed, what's the code that it's executing, it's actually my action. I think this my action is coming from here, right? So in theory, it's only the button, it's only executing, it's calling the action. This is all it's doing, right?
Well, normally
so
what you do, as I said, is normally within the component or custom widget, you would also update the app state or make some other change.
Yeah. I mean, in order to execute the callback,
yep,
you're only calling the action. This
Exactly.
is what you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Which you've done.
And then inside, inside your action or the parameter, you can do whatever you want, right? You can update local state. You can send SMS or call a number or wherever you want to, right?
Yeah. So normally,
but we're talking about update local state because the problem here is that if we don't do it like that, the local state will not update in, like I'm saying this, in real time. So you will not see the update, the changes in the local state in the same screen, right?
exactly. But the thing actually that I would do differently was on the callback action. So the one that you're passing in, where you're setting the local state on the custom widget.
Yeah, on the custom widget,
Yeah, exactly.
not on the.
Yeah, exactly. Right
okay.
here. Scroll down. Scroll down. So there you go. Here, this one. So when you're setting the value of this, don't do specific value, but actually set it using itself. So set the local state from itself. Yeah.
Okay. Why do we do this?
The reason to do that is because in this case, okay, with specific value, it's fine. But if you had a variable value, which is the normal case inside of the component, you wouldn't be able to access that here. So you would have to do that inside the component or widget. And then all of this is doing is literally just forcing the page refresh. I feel like I made something very simple sound way more confusing than it was. It wasn't supposed to be like that.
But I have a question. If you want to change the local state, where do you change it? Or you're talking about you can change it from wherever you want to inside your page, but then when you click this button, you will like update what is over here, what is written inside the page, right? This is your idea.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's like updating the local state in real time in the same page.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for all I know, this isn't necessary anymore. I figured this out. This like little hack months ago, so maybe it's not necessary. Anyway, shall we move on?
No, I think it's necessary.
I think it's still necessary.
Yeah, I think so.
So the other thing that as I said, this original question was actually about a map. And the long story short is that it doesn't actually work for the map because of how the map custom widget works. I will just share my screen real quick. That's okay.
Yeah.
So when you have a map widget, which is not one I use very often, so I kind of not claiming expert there, but the map widget allows you to choose an initial value. And with that initial value, let's go over here. That initial latitude and longitude is literally just initial. And maybe Dimitar, you have some ideas here, but so what I was trying to have is the effect essentially. So I'm scrolling. I want it to hit refresh and go back to the start, right? Normally that might be the user's location, for instance. The problem though was that the initial location does not seem, because it's initial state, I guess, it will not, if you set it to local state and then try to change the local state, even if you do a callback, nothing will actually force that entire widget to be rebuilt. And so therefore it's not moving anywhere. Yeah. So the kind of the best solution I came up with was to do what we talked about last week, to navigate to the same page with an instant page transition, replace the root so that your back button still goes back to where the user expects to go back to. And then I added some simplistic animations to make it seem less abrupt. It's obviously not perfect, far from it, but those animations can be improved, but at least it achieves the result better than if the user actually go back and thinks that the app is broken. At least to them, it kind of seems like it's on the same page. But yeah, is there any other way that you could get this widget to rebuild? I tried a few different things, but
I'm not sure, to be honest, because when you're and to be honest, I haven't played a lot with the map widget. But when you actually have your initial state, so when you first load your map, I think there should be a way, I'm not sure, as I said, but I think there should be a way to actually press a button and they get those initial values.
So do you want to share your screen again, actually, really quick? So
yeah, sure.
When we say, for those that don't know, when we talk about rebuild, so you may have noticed that sometimes in Flutterflow you see these kind of like screen flickers. Sometimes it seems like something's instant, and sometimes it seems a little bit less than instant. And basically the way Flutter works, my simplistic explanation of it, is that when data is refreshed, so when maybe a database value changes in Firebase, not everything on your page is completely they call it drawn, I think, right? So not everything is rebuilt, redrawn, recreated from scratch. Flutter will only recreate the parts that are related to the value that has changed in your widget tree. So basically, I think it's everything downwards, right? And so in this instance, what we want to happen is basically we want the actual map widget to be forced to recreate itself. And the weird thing is I couldn't figure out what would make it need to be redrawn. Like I tried to link it to Firebase data, that didn't seem to work. Changing the actual value of initial location doesn't work. I don't know what else what forces something to be redrawn apart from its own value.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I think when calling an action, and like when we did when calling an action, and when we're calling a callback action that we saw, just we did it, and I think this makes the whole page reload, right? So because we're seeing
reload, that's the thing. It only makes the things that need to be reload. So in this instance, the initial location, which is the only location on the map that would force it to actually move the view for the user, that one is above. It's at the very top of the page, right? It's an initial state. So there's changing it doesn't force it to be redrawn. And there are no other like options or parameters. The only thing I could think of was to literally like change the size of it or something, which would then, but that would look weird too.
Yeah, but we have Google Map. If we go to actions, we have Google Maps, and we have move map to center, and we can actually, and we can actually choose to move this to a specific location. I think we can convert. Do we have this in our custom functions to actually convert the location to latitude and longitude, or actually we need the vice versa, from latitude to longitude we need to convert to a location? Because if we have this, we can actually take this location over here. In theory, we can actually take this location over here, and then if we press this button, we should be able to move the map, new map center, and we should be able to just write it over here.
That's cool.
But I think we need the location, and I'm not sure. I don't think if I can get it from the random, or maybe I can get it from user. I don't know.
Don't worry.
How do I get a location? Is it? Oh, okay, current device location.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so it's this one.
Okay. That was a 30-second solution. Rather than you could have said that before, rather than making me look like an idiot.
No, I didn't know that. It's just I saw it.
I don't know if that's new. Hopefully, that's not a beta feature we've just shown. Maybe it is.
No, it's not. I'm on the normal version of Flutterflow.
Oh, good boy. Okay, I think on that note, and because I'm struggling here, I am going to say, I think that's it. No, I don't have anything. Do you have any final words you'd like to share? Apart from
yeah, the thing is that, as I said, request your functions so we can add them. And as I said, like for example, the last one, I'm not sure if we actually have the functions to convert from latitude and longitude to location, and versa. So we can add all those kind of custom functions so people can just log in and then use it. And I think this would be great. In the end of the day, the thing that we're trying to solve here is for people to have an arsenal of custom functions, for example, or cloud functions, and they can just log in and then use it wherever they want to. So yeah, I think this will be helpful for everyone, and let's hope that next week we'll have an actual update. We can talk about it.
And hopefully I will be less dying. So yeah, what Dimitar said, thank you. Request stuff, request what you want us to talk about, ask questions, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.